Excellent. So does anybody have any questions for me at this time? Or?
When are you having your debates with Ann Custer, and what's going to be your approach?
You know what, that's an excellent question. I'm very much looking forward to my debates with Ann Custer. The first televised debate is actually scheduled for NH1. I don't think my opponent has confirmed that she's actually coming, but I bet you she will. And I believe that...
We'll put an empty podium up.
I'm sorry, was
We'll
that?
put an empty podium up. So.
I don't want an empty podium. I want to debate Representative Custer. But I believe that's on the 28th of October. So that'll be the first televised debate, and then the WMUR debate will be the first week in November.
So the 28th of October is on a Friday, right?
You're going to test my memory of what the calendar looks like?
No, I think the 21st is a Friday. So the point here is, did she have any influence in selecting the date?
That I do not know.
Because obviously if it is on a Friday, you have less people are not paying much attention to it.
No, it's based upon general availability, viewership, and it just, they're pretty arbitrary dates.
Okay.
It's when we have staffing, whether we can do stuff, it's very arbitrary.
And to answer your second question, what's my strategy going to be? My strategy is going to be able to communicate the clear distinctions to the voters between what Ann Custer has done and what her record is versus what my record is and what I intend to do. She's going to try and blur those lines and try and pretend like it doesn't exist, but I'm going to make sure that the voters see that.
Good.
Any other questions?
I have a tough one for you.
All right, I'm ready for
Maybe
it.
a couple tough ones. So something has changed in police departments across America, and even in Manchester. And I know the Free State Projects got involved in driving our cops crazy to get them to treat citizens with more dignity and respect. So they've actually made police afraid to get out of their vehicles in some spots in Manchester because they know they're being filmed, and it's a little bit crazy. But anyway, my question is, when we look across America, we're seeing some kind of epidemic. I've never seen in my childhood police killing dogs. And by the way, I believe that we need community policing, and I know it worked in Lowell. Lowell was a mess. They had gang wars, and then by creating local police little spots for the cops to get to know the neighborhood and to walk the beat and to ride the bikes, it became a better environment, and the crime rate in Lowell dropped dramatically. And here we are with heroin epidemics, and the crime rate in Manchester is going up. And New Hampshire is the live free or die state, and I would never have thought it would start to hit our state. What are your thoughts about kind of making sure that our police don't end up doing some things we're seeing in other parts of the country, and that we can have a better relationship between the police and the communities?
Okay, very good question. One thing that many of you may not realize is that I'm actually the son of a 35-year law enforcement veteran. And what's also interesting about that is this question talks about community policing. My father was actually a pioneer in implementing community policing in one of the first major cities in New York City. So I'm going to answer that piece of it first. I am definitely a big fan of community policing. I think it's a vital tool in our arsenal to get communities and police to cooperate in order to fight crime. We have found that it does, in fact, help deter and fight crime. So I think that's a very important thing to reinforce. You asked a question about the heroin epidemic. This is a very unfortunate tragedy that we're facing with this drug crisis currently. My plan to be able to address this properly, it requires, in my estimation, a three-pronged approach. We need to make sure that we have not only the law enforcement component to this, because we do need to stop these illegal narcotics from coming into our state, but we also need to make sure we have adequate treatment facilities to be able to deal with those who are struggling with the drug crisis. And there is an educational component. It does take a concerted effort on all three of those levels to be able to fight this drug crisis. And I can tell you, as your congressman, I will do everything in my power to make sure that all three of those areas would have the resources that are needed in order to get the job done. And in terms of civil liberties, my philosophy is very simple. The number one law in the land in the United States is the Constitution. And we should not be doing anything that strays away from the Constitution. I mean, I can go on and on about Representative Ann Custer and Hillary Clinton and all the things that they want to propose that would be a violation of the United States Constitution. So, police violating our civil liberties or our rights based on the Constitution will never be tolerated. I don't think that we should tolerate that. But we're very fortunate because we happen to live in a state where the overwhelming majority of police officers do their job very well every day to keep us safe. So we'll take notice of that, and we'll fight hard to make sure that we maintain that. Thank you for that question.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate your support. I need volunteers. I need people to take signs. I need people to help work in a whole host of capacity. We need door knockers. We need people to make phone calls. We need people to stand out in polling locations. And of course, we definitely appreciate donations because I can tell you right now, my staff and everything else is paid for. The only thing I'm going to be spending money from this point forward is to get our message out to the voters. So this is a critical time. And I'll also add that your donations to my campaign are actually more effective than anything else. Because I can tell you, when I put an ad up on TV or I purchase ad space, my rate is actually cheaper than any political action committee or any outside organization. So you're getting more bang for your buck by donating to Jim Lawrence for Congress. So thank you again.
Can I ask you a question? Do you see a lot of DNC money coming in? No, seriously. I mean, it sounds like a stupid question, but
No, it's not a stupid
are they really
question.
coming after you to keep custody there?
Flows with the heroin.
To answer your question, yes. She's got DC support. She's got her own donors that have been supporting her from California and elsewhere across the country. It's not New Hampshire supporting her. It's the rest of the country and the Democrats from a lot of Californians are donating to her campaign, a lot of money coming from DC. So I do see a lot of support coming from DC. Hey, Matt, can you send a message to DC for me and tell them I'd like some too? Thank you.
Okay, John.
Croc TV.